Welcome to Saving America. This is your host, Dr. David D. Shine. Donald J. Trump is now president. The question is, how long will it take to get his cabinet and his key agency picks confirmed so that they can get things rolling? The handlers of Joe the Demented did their best to leave his depends full of you-know-what all over the White House and the American government. I previously suggested that the 25th Amendment be used to block many of his crazy and anti-American edicts made between the time of the election and finally getting him out of the White House. At the same time, as Americans adjust to the horrific terrorist attack in the French Quarter in New Orleans on New Year's morning, more horror in Los Angeles with at least 24 dead and what may be the most expensive disaster in American history. Time for the Trump cabinet picks to be confirmed. John Lennon, the Beatles fame, wrote a poignant song recorded in 1969, not with the Beatles, "Give Peace a Chance." Time for the scum-sucking Dems who have just had their butts kicked to get smart and stop damaging America. Approve the nominees now and let's get America back on track. The worst of Trump nominees, in my opinion, are RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, but hey, one is still a Democrat and the other one used to be a Democrat. Every Trump nominee is better than the best of the losers in the Biden administration, and I don't fear any contradiction on that one, folks. I hope the voters understand that the mess that America is in right now is so bad that it cannot be corrected quickly. My hope is that enough progress will be made, despite the resistance from the left, that this administration will get a full 4 years to do what they can. Many pundits have predicted recently that Americans, even Californians and New Yorkers, see that the Dems are not helping anyone but themselves. The predictions of a dominant GOP have been wrong before, of course. See 2020 and 2022, right? We at Saving America try and maintain this show under PG standards, meaning no profanity. Hard to do that with the deliberate landmines that Biden's handlers have left. From billions more in student loan forgiveness to more limits on offshore drilling to moving agency positions around so that the various agency managers will be the ones that resist Trump, at least initially. They've also done what they can to extend amnesty to many illegals who should never have been allowed into this country. Our disrespectful and wonky VP refused to host a visit in D.C. with Vance and his wife. Meanwhile, Joe the Demented took a victory lap to give speeches about how great he is leaving America. One part is true. Since he's out of government for the first time in 50 years, America is definitely on a better track. Bad deal for Israel. Biden and Trump both claim credit. My regular audience members know that while I despise Biden and his handlers, I am a conservative and not a Trumpster. If I was Trump, I would not take credit for the crummy deal that did not return every single one of the hostages, and certainly not a deal that released a single terrorist prisoner. Hamas is down, but not dead. They need to be dead, folks. This is the only fix for the current mess. Israel has done very good, but the job is not done. Hamas needs to be exterminated like the cockroaches that they are. And the Houthis in Yemen need to be exterminated as well. Los Angeles burns while pretty boy Newsom tries to pretend it's not his and his party's fault. I want to extend my condolences to the families who have lost loved ones in the terrible fires consuming the Los Angeles area and to those whose homes and businesses have been destroyed. While I have not lost a loved one in this manner, I have experienced a major fire here in Houston. In contrast, however, to California, the fire department controlled the blaze and the neighborhood was intact, providing me the support I needed to rebuild. There's a ton of blame to spread around in Los Angeles. The state has spent money like it is toilet paper, but have not done basic stuff like serious fire protection and fire precautions. At the local level, you have Karen Bass, the clueless mayor of LA. She promised when she ran for mayor to be local, no foreign junkets. Well, she was in Africa when the fire started in LA. That does not seem like staying home and minding the store. Reports are also that Bass pulled $17 million out of the fire department budget. She was trying to walk that back a few days ago. I don't know how successful she will be. The horrors of the mass destruction and at least 24 deaths belongs to the failures of competence, selling the climate change hoax at the expense of doing basic stuff like clearing brush in forested areas. Further adding to the disaster is the possible lack of insurance funds and the insurance companies spreading the risk to the rest of Californians and perhaps throughout the United States. The environmental impact is so large it's hard to estimate. The ravaged land is now full of debris, much of it toxic. It can wash into watersheds and may cause mudslides on barren hills. Anticipate persons with breathing issues encountering even more severe exposures. Removing the debris presents its own basket of problems. A good plan involves not building on every square inch of real estate and specifically setting up buffer zones with no easily flammable trees or other material in them. In Florida, houses in some areas have to be hurricane resistant. Why did Los Angeles not require that new buildings be constructed of less flammable materials? The fire department administration in LA is a DEI mess. No wonder half the fire trucks are in need of repair. No wonder that despite the record high fire risk, a skeleton crew was on watch the night the major fires began. And let's protect those criminal illegals from deportation despite federal law. Over a period of several days, small fires were deliberately set and illegals were implicated, at least initially. Fortunately, those did not blow into the two major fires. If there's a silver lining to this stupidity, I would hope that not a single person in America considers that bag of hot air, that wannabe actor Newsom, should ever be a candidate for president. Trump pushing for a fair number on SALT. When I saw stories on this topic, I thought immediately of a famous SALT acronym, Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. However, this is a different SALT. This is state and local tax deductions. During the first Trump administration, deduction of these taxes was limited for residential use to $10,000 per year to help pay for the Trump big tax cuts in 2017. The report added that he is getting bipartisan pushback from high tax states like New York, California, and New Jersey. Well, I would like to add Texas to that list. It was a long tradition that such taxes would be fully deductible from federal taxation to avoid what is double taxation. So SALT was a big deal. As money continues tight for many families, the limit on this deduction has increased in spreading the pain. Trump has indicated now that he is open to a fair increase. We'll see about that. The problem is that lower tax states, many of them red states, do not like giving such big tax deductions in those high tax states. However, given the surging taxes here in Texas, and I have heard big increases in popular Florida, there might be less opposition than has been suggested. I had to mention the Biden going away speech. It was especially humorous when he expressed concern about an oligarchy ruling America. So it was okay when Bezos and Zuckerberg were still on his side. It was okay for him to take billions from them and people like George Soros. It's not okay for him to waste precious legal resources on lawfare, and not just against Trump, but against many of his supporters. Joe, thank goodness you're out of the White House. Shut up and go away. FDA bans red food dye due to potential cancer risk. Gee, they're just figuring it out now. Nearly 3,000 foods are shown to contain red number 3. It is now banned in food starting in January 2027. Drug manufacturers have all the way until January 2028 to remove it from oral medications. A fascinating footnote is that the cosmetic use, that's right, simply using it on your skin, was banned 35 years ago in this country. It has been banned in Europe for many years, in fact, frequently mentioned by RFK Jr., and that should cause all Americans to despise the FDA and its slow walk on this ruling. As one of those people read the labels on all foods before buying them, I have not knowingly purchased things with this potential carcinogen in them. However, that does not mean that my children and grandchildren have not been exposed to them due to the sloppiness of the FDA. As an alternative, some dietitians have suggested beets, pomegranates, strawberries, and raspberries. You can dry them and then grind them up to make healthy red colors that are not harmful to our wonderful children.